country. So I believe everything will be okay in terms of movement, money. And all these movements anyway are within the legislation areas that are hot works. These are not long distances, so we do not take any.
Mr. Aluko, availability of fuel and disparity in the prices of pump price will not affect logistics.
You remember that the Commission visited NNPC, and we had a good discussion, and the NNPC Group Managing Director placed at the disposal of INEC more than 800 mega stations in the country, and even there are floating stations in the riverine areas were made available to INEC. And even areas where NNPC does not have stations, they also link up with other station owners who will provide us well. So we had a very good understanding with NNPC, and of course we are thankful to the leadership of NNPC for that assurance they gave us. And that assurance, of course, is already translating into a lot of help for us, but we don't have any problems with fueling at all.
Okay, well, Mr. Aluko, I remember we had you on Good Morning Nigeria sometime last week, if not perhaps a couple of weeks ago, and that was along with the Director of IT, Deputy Director of IT at INEC, the whole issue around BVAS, which is meant to be the game changer. Just for the benefit of some of our viewers who probably do not have the information, what are the levels of authentication by the BVAS? Is it one or both?
The BVAS is actually designed to be able to authenticate a voter through either the fingerprint or the facials. In the BVAS, we have the fingerprint of voters. In the BVAS, we have the photograph of voters. Now, we first try to check your fingerprint, and once that is okay, you go ahead and you vote. There's no need to check the facials anymore. But if you check your fingerprint and it fails, then the alternative is to use the facials. And if the facial authentication succeeds, you go and vote. But if both fails, then you will not be allowed to vote. That is the law. Because we will believe that you are not the owner of that car, and we will politely tell that voter to please leave the polling unit. If the person refuses to leave, the presiding officer will invite the security agencies to do the bidding. So the issue of authentication is quite clear. You present yourself, and your fingerprint will be checked. If it's authenticated, you don't need to go to the issue of official authentication. Just collect your ballot paper and go vote. But if your fingerprint authentication fails, then the alternative is in facials. We do the second one, and if that one is okay, you go and vote. That's how the BVAS was designed, and that's how it will function on election day.
Mr. Aluko, we're maximizing our time with you so that before we know that you're going for another engagement. Well, very quickly, again, for the benefit of voters tomorrow, advice on which of the fingers to use in marking the box or the rectangle for the party of your choice. You know, you say thumbprint. I mean, we have only two thumbs if you have normal 10 fingers, right or left. Now, I've seen some promotional materials before now advising prospective voters to use their index finger. I've also seen some advising on the middle finger or some advising on the pinky, the small finger. So, which is more appropriate? Is it the thumb? Is it the index finger, middle finger, or the small finger, or the pinky?
A voter can use any of his or her fingers. We have the thumbprint in our system. Whether you're using your right hand or left. Normally, if somebody is a right-handed person, tends to present his right hand. If somebody is a left-handed person, tends to present the left hand. But use any of your fingerprints.
Okay, just again, for us to understand, what is allowed the voter within the presence of the voting area I understand mobile phone is allowed, but not within the voting cubicles. So I do understand the rationale for that.
You're talking about the voting cubicle in terms of photographic materials?
Yes.
What we are saying is, as part of our fight against the vote buying issue, we instructed our presiding officers not to allow anyone to bring any photographic material into the voting cubicle. If you bring your phone, we will collect it from you and keep it. When you finish voting, you can come and collect the phone and go. Because we don't want people to start snapping ballot paper after they must have completed, and then going somewhere to go and show people and start collecting gratification. So we will not allow anyone to enter our cubicle where the very important duty of printing the ballot paper is done. We will not allow anyone to enter that voting cubicle any photographic material at all. So that's the law, and it's also a moral thing. We need to be able to reduce as much as possible this issue of vote buying or electoral protest.
Please clarify for us two things. The first one is, I think I read it was somewhere yesterday in one of the states that youth corps members have been pulled out as adult staff. What's your reaction to that, and what will happen in states where that has happened? And then second, the Kingsley talked about a post this morning that we received making the rounds about those who have not collected their PVCs, that they still have a chance of participating in the elections. We want to know if that actually emanated from your portal. You can just publicly let us know if that is a fake news making the rounds or not.
Well, these days on social media we see all sorts of things. The issue of collection of PVCs ended some time ago, and for tomorrow, the election tomorrow, we have announced that 87.2 million Nigerians collected their PVCs, and those are the people we are expecting at the polling units. Anyone who did not collect PVC will not even be able to enter our polling unit, as explained earlier. So anyone who did not collect PVC will wait until another period after the elections, when INEC again begins issue of maybe CDR and data collection. So anyone that does not have PVC cannot come to our polling unit. So any social media post that is telling people that they can still do that, they can vote out PVC is extremely misleading. And we are asking the people that are posting such things stop misleading our people.
Okay, there was the other issue about NYSC pulling out, but I'm sure if he's still around, we'll get back to him to respond to that. Mr. Aluko, Claire also asked about some youth corps members who are disengaging from tomorrow's exercise as ad hoc staff. Is this widespread or is just purely localized?
No, it's not widespread. When we are recruiting, we recruit more than the number we need. For example, if in a local government, let's say we need 2,000, we tend to recruit up to 10% more than that, because we are human. Anything can actually happen. Somebody can be sick. Somebody can decide not to go ahead. But we don't have it as a problem. We prepare for all that. It's not really true that corpers are withdrawing. No, and not. In fact, many corpers are excited. They are interested. These are persons who are youthful, quite youthful and exuberant, and they are just graduated. The tendency for adults continue to be strong in their blood. It's there, and they are very patriotic. So we don't have any problem of corpers withdrawing. But any area where there's any issue, we have quite enough person.
Mr. Aluko, thank you very much there for your response. And as I said, if we're able to get back to you again after making the rounds with the guests in our studios, we will take the opportunity of asking one or two questions before we sign you off. So back to the studios, DIG Adeleke Adeyinka. We're in the studios here, and it's a very cozy environment, and most parts of Nigeria are also very comfortable, no question about that. But there are already flashpoints that we know in this country, not areas that have pre-existing security challenges. Just yesterday, or the day before, Kano showed what is possible in terms of electoral violence. There are accounts of clashes between supporters, fatalities already been reported, and that some of the supporters of the parties were actually on street parades wielding knives, daggers, and machetes. How concerning is the situation in Kano to the conduct of the elections tomorrow?
It is worrisome, but at the same time, you realize that the scenario that is going to play out on the election day is going to be different. I told you, starting from this midnight, there's going to be a restriction of movement. Definitely on election day, we won't have these people will not have the opportunity to gather in the same place as they gathered in Kano. People, you can't move from your own polling booth to another polling booth. The way it's been arranged is that there are going to be military men on roads that will stop you from moving, especially you are going to your polling booth. And for each polling booth, there will be security agencies there. Like I said, the way we've mapped it out is, for the routes, they will be manned. For the polling booths, they will be manned. And according to what our agenda Madam said the other time, is security itself is fluid, very, very fluid. If there's a problem somewhere and you need support of other men, that is maybe you need reinforcement. That particular place must be reinforced so that you bring down the problem and move on. But for men who are working on normal election duties, they are not going to be armed, and we are trying as much as possible, like we have said that we have promised, that for each polling booth we are going to have two of our men at each polling booth, and they will not be armed. There are measures that are put in place to check this type of movement of people from one area to the other. On election day, they will not be able to gather the way they gathered yesterday and were clashing.
She talked about the use
Siren,
of
yes,
particularly and
Sirens in apparently safe neighborhoods, which could then cause intimidation for persons who ordinarily would be willing to go out. That why don't you go to trouble spots or areas where the threats are higher, rather than in safer locations? Anybody blowing siren in Metama and Amak, for instance, you're just wasting your time.
But is it possible to play down the use of siren within the election, the voting area?
Like I said, it's a fluid environment. The place that is not restive can suddenly become restive, and normally when the restrictions are placed and the roads are free, nobody will be blowing siren. But in a place where you have seen that there's going to be a problem, you want people to realize that there's presence of security agencies. It is not that they blow that siren for the fun of it. Like tomorrow there's going to be restriction, you are moving on the road ordinarily, that's the security agencies. They don't blow siren, they won't blow siren. But in the situation where you need to get to a place in a hurry, in the situation where you believe that there might be problem, you want to show your presence. And it's all in the bid to ensure that we have a sound environment.
Okay, I still have a question for you. Kingsley doesn't have any more on the siren matter.
No. That's not the siren matter. What we do know is that it is not just the issue of the siren, actually. We have siren abuse in our environment. This has lingered on for decades, and every Tom, Dick, and Harry has a siren, and you're blaring. It is the consequence of the misuse of the siren on potential voter or prospective voters that we're talking about. Is look, Is there trouble? One detachment will pass siren, another detachment will pass siren. Find out, maybe they are fighting somewhere. Let me stay in my house. So that's the issue. Clear.
So the idea, I also want you to talk to us about the quality of the deployments, the men that you have deployed, and probably, if you may, what informed those specific deploy. And I ask this because of the issues about nuances of voters and party agents, within the presence of the voting area. Again, Cynthia talked about people who really need to know how to respond appropriately to particular situations. So you may wish to talk to us about your deployments, the quality and why.
The quality of our deployment, like when we had an assessment of the situation, Nigeria is made up of land, air, sea, or let me say water. In the water areas, like we have the marine section of the Nigerian police, and we are going to be ably assisted by the Nigerian Navy, which has the sea. Airspace is going to be dominated by the Nigerian Air Force, and we have an air wing in the Nigerian Police Force. The land spaces where we have the rack centers, the voting centers, the polling booths, will be manned by the Nigerian Police Force, men of the Nigerian Civil Defense, the Nigerian Army, and other security agencies are going to assist us.
No, what I'm asking is, for instance, the two people you talked about that will man the voting areas, what is their training? What are they trained to do? What are they specifically to look out for within those areas?
Their major duty is to ensure there is peace, that people have a conducive environment to vote. And note, when offences are committed in polling areas, the person who takes charge of the polling area is the INEC official. If the INEC official sees anything, if maybe the incident of underage voting, maybe the incident of ineligible person wanting to vote, maybe incident of an intruder coming to the place, it is the or somebody that is becoming unruly, it's the INEC official that gives the order to the police officer to say, this person is committing an offense, ensure he leaves the area. And some meters away from the police.
So assuming the police officer sees such an offense, the police officer closes his eye because it's not INEC.
No, he can. There are offenses that are directly related to electoral process. It's decided by the INEC official. But if there are some other things you've seen, and it's of the magnitude that you can handle, you as a police officer, you handle it. If it's beyond that, you call the
some kind of slice. I don't understand.
So because we've heard this before, and there's something about us understanding the rules of state institutions. A crime is a crime, whether it's committed within an election. The fact the electorate causes an offense means it will usually categorized as a crime. So when I hear this, and I'm just smiling because we've heard these excuses why, okay, vote buying is happening, why are you not arresting people? They say the police has to wait for INEC to give the directive. Someone is being unruly, why are you not stopping that person? And for me, I can't understand that, because one, personnel are focused on administering the elections. So the training of security official should not be forgotten because elections is happening. I think most times we make excuses for offenses within elections, and we reduce the levels. It's almost like we say, oh, because it's elections, it's not really an offense anymore because it's almost like we're using the election as an excuse for criminality to happen. And the question is, within our legal framework, do the security officials understand the concept of crime? Yes. Do they understand the roles or the rules or the procedures to take when a crime is committed? Yes. So why not also apply that? Because at the end, the Electoral Act, once it criminalizes an offense, it basically gives officials the power to take, because it's an offense, is an offense, right? So it criminalizes it. So I think we also need to create that boundary. I know there are times things like underage voting or someone that, because that one has already approached the official. No, it's the official that can tell that. There are some of those exceptions, but the general things that happen at polling units, honestly, we need the police to step up its game, because if we had arrests happening since, vote buying will not persist this long, right? The people that come to disrupt the process will not be doing it this long. So I think for these elections, we should understand that offense is offense. Once the security officials see that, don't wait on INEC, because the truth is most times these personnel are overburdened, because you have people you need to attend to, people are impatient, so you will not expect ad hoc officials. Most of them are core members. Most of them, they just want to get this work done and leave. They are not going to be saying, police, see that guy causing this problem, see people buying food, do that. So we need the personnel to also be up to their duties to do their work on elections day.
Let me explain that. You see, in situations like that, if you've posted officers to a polling booth, for example, there are 2 or 3 officers to check the conduct of people in the polling booth, and maybe 300 or 400 yards away from there, somebody is reporting a case of vote buying. What you do is to call the patrol team around that area to come and intercept that. But you don't abandon your own polling booth to go and perform that duty. If you abandon your polling booth to make that arrest, take that suspect or the suspect to the appropriate place, what happens at your own place of primary assignment in that polling booth? That is what exactly happens in that scenario. In that scenario, when things are reported, the officers on duty at that particular polling booth, they will call for assistance of those people are on patrol. Those people are on patrol. We need to get to that place on time, in quick time, to ensure that sanity is brought into bear. Those are the people that will blow siren and come quickly to come and rescue that situation.
If the road is clear,
What is happening? What is happening in the polling unit?
I do.
Outside.
DIG, if the road is clear, there's no need for siren, because when you are blowing, when the siren is being dead, there is signaling to those who are committing an offense to say they are coming. So wake up. So you get there, you find nobody. They say, why did you back us? Yes, we'll take a short break now. When we return, we'll continue with the conversation. Yes. Nobody's siren.
Of our fathers.
I believe we have fought one civil war too many in this country. So those who experience it will run away from it.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
All right, you're welcome back, and it's still Good Morning Nigeria on NTS Network Service. I just again, let's me transition to another critical issue: voter intimidation. In some polling units, most likely will take place tomorrow, and vote buying could also be attempted on location. Even though we have heard that before now, there are all kinds of accounts of monies being stuffed in customized envelopes are being handed out, that there were protests in some of the videos that they gave us old Naira notes instead of the new ones. But we have also heard and seen some videos circulated, whether these ones are skits or not, I cannot ascertain, that well before voting day, there have been attempts at vote buying. There are transfers have been made. Yesterday on Good Morning Nigeria, I said EFCC, you have deployed your officers throughout the 36 states of the Federation, and the EFCC, good a thing. But NFIU and ICPC go and check accounts. If somebody is making transfers, 10,000, you will tell me what you are making those transfers for. That's one. Well, I've also heard that people they are giving out gas cylinders. They have not told the people how they will refill the gas cylinder. If it is 12.5 kg, that's about 10,000 naira. But should we be worried about the devices being innovated, as it were, for vote buying and also for intimidation? Because all of this could impact on the credibility of the polls. Cynthia, very quickly.
Yes, we should, and I think this is where we honestly need to hold our political class accountable. The politicians, the political parties, the candidates, because it does not make sense that a lot of work is invested in building an electoral process that is credible and that guarantees integrity of the vote. And as we're investing to build this process, you have politicians looking for ways to undermine the power of the vote, looking for ways to undermine the credibility of the process, because all these new ways of inequity motion, you remember Madam Mufuliat, sometimes it's almost like before the election, some campaigns that were happening, at first we were seeing door-to-door campaign, house-to-house campaigns, and we were happy that, politicians are now going to meet the people at their comfort to talk about, what they want to do for the people. Before we realized later that was actually voter inducement happening, and they would go. It was like family. It was very strategic. You get numbers, you get account details. They make conversations. In Osun, at one point, just towards Ramadan, Ram was giving and all of that. Who does not want to collect Ram for Salah? And this is not. It doesn't make sense, because as we are trying to even reduce vote buying, now you are having digital transactions happening. Now you go to homes and you are having expectation at this home. You give me 50 votes. We'll pay you this amount if we get this number of votes. And I think what we need to really do, because at the end of the day, there are two ways to hold our political class accountable, for Nigerians to understand that we are the ones doing ourselves. Because if we are not willing to sell, then there is no one that will be buying. But now you have voters who are also going and looking for where to sell. I was on radio one day and I said, don't sell your votes. And a caller called and was angry at me and said, delegates collected in dollars and naira, you did not stop them. Now it's time for the people to collect. You're stopping us. We need to change that mentality. When people say people get the leaders they deserve, it's not far from the truth, because if we cannot as a people say no to the monies you give to us, we will vote based on our issues and what we care about, then tomorrow how can we start complaining? And I think for these elections, what would really make the difference is that when we come out to vote, we vote on issues regardless of who gives us the monies. But there's the point you made around the role of the EFCC, the ICPC, and the Nigeria National NFIU. It's honestly because when it also comes to voter inducement, vote buying and all of that, you have access to our accounts, because most times you follow transactions that happens. And I think at this point that level of intelligence is needed, because at the end of the day, there are people, you see some levels of transaction is suspicious. You have to invite them for questioning, because we really need to look for new ways to ensure the sanctity of the vote. And it begins with how, one, we enforce our laws to ensure perpetrators are brought to the book, not just the small young people that you go give the monies. Who is the money back behind the person who gave them monies to go and buy votes? Who is doing it? Because if you pick the average, the ordinary ones, you're not stopping the crime. You're not picking the big money bags behind the scene. So we need to start to pick them. But for voters also, for these elections, for every voter who is watching, honestly, you cannot, there's no amount of money that is big enough to buy your vote and guarantee your life or your future for the next 4 years. Don't sell your vote. Don't tell me they collected big money, so it's your turn to chop. No, you are doing yourself. We are doing ourselves. And it is a crime if we cannot justify. People say we are hungry. But when someone steals a loaf of bread, you will not say because he's hungry they stole my bread, so let's forgive them. Or when someone steals your phone, you will still say the person stole my phone. You will say, you will not make excuses for those crimes. So why do you make excuses for vote buying? Because it's almost like we don't understand that being transactional with the system is at our own detriment. And I think for Nigerian voters, the power is within us at this point to say no to these guys that come to buy our vote, because that is the only way we can hold them accountable and the only way we can elect the right people into office.
All right, thank you, Cynthia. Let me come back to Mufuliat now, and I just to look at it from again the perspective of gender that you represent. If you look at the data provided by INEC. And indeed, INEC has done a very good job this time around, giving us with the, data distribution across occupation, age, and, other elements. So the youth constitute the largest population, followed by the middle age 18 to 34. Now, what interests me is the composition. When you further disaggregate, these brackets, you discover that housewives, women, also have, large population. But the fact is, will they actually come out? And when they come out, do they know what to do rankly in terms of voting procedures, what to expect, the first, stage, another, until the final stage when the, ballot paper is dropped into the ballot box?
Okay. The trends that we've seen so far, is that in voting, the housewives you mentioned, they are very strategic, and most of them do obey instructions when it comes to voting. And you have family lines in instructions. You have family lines in voting. So some certain families decide that this is the party they are going for, and the housewives are part of these families. They've encouraged them, supported them to go out to get their PVC, so they are going to be voting along that line. Where we often see challenges is in the aspect of women who are in the professional background. Career women. Most times they don't even register to vote. They don't go out to vote on election day. So the votes of the housewives, they are strategic to this process. So I'm very optimistic that they're going to come out. If you look at Nigeria's history, political wise also, this category of women from time to time have been at a greater percentage when it comes to going out to vote on election. They are the ones who come out, who stay on the queue, who stay till the end of procedures to ensure that they also fulfill the family obligation of voting around. So I'm very pleased and happy with that category of women. But I want to still use this opportunity to call on career women, professional women to also see it as a duty, a point of responsibility. The day of election is not when you start doing all the cookings or washings, that you start relaxing. It's a time to perform a civic responsibility to your country, by showing examples, that you have a stake in what happens in Nigeria. Because we're also talking about inclusive governance. We need this category of women, to perform this duty and demonstrate the fact that women are capable and are able to contribute meaningfully, to the growth process of Nigeria. And the housewife will continue to commend them and urge them to still play the active role that they've been involved in.
I don't know if Mr. Aluko is still with us, because I would have loved to ask.
Aluko is off now.
Because we women have a lot of body creams and everything and I hear that the beavers could be sensitive to some of these things. So I don't know.
Well, not really. So that, which is why there are two options. It's either the fingerprints or the facials. Because not just women, you have farmers, people. Sometimes because of your work, you could have issues that your fingerprint will be difficult to read. Which is why the beavers is bimodal. The PVC part, the biometrics part is either your face. So if they try the fingerprints, it doesn't work. They try the facials, because the belief is that your face is your face. Regardless, and you can't forget it somewhere.
Regardless of makeup.
Regardless of makeup, yes, it will be captured. Regardless of makeup, the idea is that the facial has more success rate, and we recorded that in Ekiti and Osun. The facials has more success rates, because especially for communities where you have larger number of farmers or people based on occupation, the facials has a better. So I saw one fake news. I don't know. So sometimes people, they said women with henna, this that they would not be allowed to vote because captured them. Yes, that is so fake. It's wrong. It's fake news. There is nothing that stops you regardless of that. If it doesn't capture your fingerprints, your facials will be captured.
Okay, thank you very much. I mentioned pancake a while ago.
There's nothing like pancake anymore. Foundation.
Okay, that's the digital day. That's the digital day for. If you, I don't know, because what are you concealing? If the beavers doesn't show the original this thing, then don't quarrel when you get there, because At the time it was called Pancake, it was in the 60s. There was a high life tune that was released. And that, oh baby, you too raw pancake. Now what you go do make you stop pancake? Oh baby. So that's why I'm raising it. But back again to the DIG. Two things. One, it looks like the entire country will be in lockdown for virtually the whole of Saturday. Because this is from midnight tonight until 6 p.m. In the past it was around about 4. So what has changed? Is it the time of voting? Is it what has changed so that to be locked in for that long is probably potentially challenging? We know that it's only for a day, but just explain to our viewers why this is so.
Thank you. I'm employing Nigerians to bear with us. Like I said, when we did the threat analysis of what was on ground, I told you that there are some categories of people that are not really interested in election happening. This was done to checkmate that. That's that long period. And at the same time, we needed time to ensure that there is sanity after voting, because the election itself is not just before, during, after the election, but after the election. But I employ Nigerians to bear with us.
Okay, the two other issues. I'm just being reminded now that sirens are not permitted within the precincts of a polling unit. Sirens, whether except of course it's an ambulance. In that case, there could be an exception. I mean, if there's a casualty arising from any incident, that's understandable. Sirens not permitted around the polling unit. That's one. Second point, we'll be talking about numbers of police personnel deployed. They have 50,000, here are 30-something thousand, which is good and useful. But we know that these are officers who are being uprooted temporarily, as it were, from their normal places of service and are going to different locations. In the past, including off-cycle elections, there were complaints of delayed payment of allowances. And this could sometimes make security officers, not just policemen now, vulnerable to inducement, therefore to look the other way while offenses are being committed. And that sometimes some of the nonchalant attitude you see on the part of security officers, again I'm not saying police specifically, would arise from the fact that they've been deployed. They've gone to different locations now, several days. Where do you take your bath? Where do you sleep? Why do you feed? What allowances? What is coming? What's not coming? And so on and so forth. Have these issues been taken care of so that at least we can considerably minimize the lethargic impact that might have?
Thank you. This has been taken care of administratively, seriously. I can speak for the police. Officers are beginning to receive their alerts, and
not in hard copy.
Arrangement is being made. Okay. Many have started. They even have started receiving calls. Like that started. Some people who have not even received, I told them that it's going to come. Concerning the payments, it's been taken care of. Administratively, is properly taken care of. We are not going to have problems with that.
Let's hope so, and keep our fingers crossed. We don't hear any contrary, allegation at the end of the process. But again, I would like to ask the two ladies here this question. I know that over time we've recorded marginal improvement in terms of the election data statistics. Number of those registered, number of those accredited, and of course voting turnout and all that. But this particular electoral, something happened to it. Something happened to this electoral season. If you look at across all the elements, you recorded improvement in both age, occupation, even among those people living with disabilities, So simply, I don't know, what do you attribute, this to? I don't know, is it because of the Electoral Act? I know you were in the center of the Not Too Young to Run Act. Did it also have any impact?
Well, I think there are different factors contributing to the level of interest. Interestingly, yesterday INEC released the PVC rate, and we have about 93% PVC collection. I think it's barely about 6 states or so that had less than 90% collection rate. So all the other states were 90 and above. And what this for me is good. It's nice to see, or it's inspiring to see people indicate interest to participate in the process, and that is progress in our elections. The Electoral Act, we believe, was one of those things that did inspire confidence, but also people believe in technology. So the way you see people talking about these BVAS, they actually do believe that BVAS is a game changer, which is why there is a responsibility on INEC, because you don't want to build hope and then you go and then it doesn't work, which is why there's a lot of call on INEC that you must ensure 100% deployment of the BVAS across every polling unit, and that it functions. Where it has an issue, the RATEX you've chosen should be available to resolve those issues, because now people want to participate because of technology, people want to participate because they think the process will be more transparent, and there's a lot of work on INEC and the security to ensure that in this hope they've given the people, this confidence they've built is sustained in the process on elections day and post-election. That's where people would feel confident that yes, that their votes did count, and they will be easily open to accept the outcome if they think the process was transparent.
Okay, let's quickly get Muflet.
I think the level of confidence, that the election management body INEC, has built in people, helped contribute to their turnout to participate in the continuous voter registration, get their PVCs, and if you look at the percentage of those that have collected their PVCs, it's very encouraging. It's a strong point that the ANB has done greatly, to mobilize Nigeria, towards a democratic process that they also own. There is also an increased sense of ownership. This is also improving their interest, to be an active player, as voters and as candidates in the electoral process. I think this is good for our democracy, and we should keep it up and match it up with going out to vote tomorrow. We must not record voter apathy in spite of this increase in the number of people with PVCs. They should go out. Nigeria is our country, and we should own it.
Absolutely. Nigeria is ours, and tomorrow is E-Day. So we'll look forward to it. And we do hope, I'll look at the numbers at the end of the exercise, if all stakeholders have done the public enlightenment right, and if the public enlightenment actually percolated down. Because we have issues always around void votes. Void votes. Have the parties and the candidates sufficiently enlightened their supporters and voters in general as to what to do and how to do it? There's a lot of noise all over the place, but how much of that education has gone on, rather than going to give somebody a cylinder, a gas cylinder, transferring money to the person's account? How much enlightenment? The person you have transferred money to the account will go to the polling station and thumbprint and then fold it in the wrong way, and it's smeared, and then it is lost, and the vote, of course, that particular vote is void. So how much enlightenment we will get to ascertain from the numbers when they are eventually released. On which note, we'd like to thank all our 4 guests who've been with us today. We appreciate Mr. Victor Aluko, Director of Voter Education and Publicity of the Independent National Electoral Commission. He was with us via Zoom, and he's had to leave, of course, for other engagements. Here in the studios, we had the Deputy Inspector General of Police, DIG in charge of operations, Adeleke Adeyinka. Thank you very much for being our guest.
Just before you, I wanted to appreciate, the turnout of the DIG. I don't know if it is because it's the DIG, but this should be the standard of, we should have, yes.
Thank you. This is a special uniform, probably for operations. The police, they also have their ceremonial dress, but this one is clean, and I think I made a comment earlier about the footwear of the DIG. I don't want to crack that joke on, but Our director has punched him on air. You can see he's sparkling. He's sparkling. But once he gets on the beat tomorrow, the boots will pick up some dust. Obviously, the cost of work, as it will be for all others who will be on the beat. I will wish them the very best. We have to cooperate with them. They are out there not to intimidate us voters, but they are out there to protect us, protect the environment, protect the votes, so that when you go out to vote, your votes will count. We also like to thank Cynthia Obamalu, regular on Good Morning Nigeria. She's program manager at Yaga Africa. Sorry, I downgraded you. Program director at Yaga Africa. Mufulat Fijabi, CEO, Nigeria Women Trust Fund, Gender and Election Watchroom. Thank you very much for being our guests on Good Morning Nigeria today. Let's go back now to our sports desk.
Mozambique head coach Dario Monteiro says his side will go all out for a win in their final Group A game against the Flying Eagles of Nigeria. The young West Mambas have picked just 1 point from their opening 2 games. Monteiro's side held hosts Egypt to a 0-0 draw in their first game. The Mozambicans were then thrashed 3-0 by the Cobs of Senegal on Wednesday night. Monteiro's charges will have to beat the Flying Eagles of Nigeria in their last group match in Ismailia to qualify to the knockout stage of the tournament. Meanwhile, Croatia defender Dejan Lovren has announced his retirement from international football 14 years after making his debut for his country. The 33-year-old, who is in his second spell at Lyon, played in the 2018 World Cup final when Croatia lost 4-2 to France in Moscow. The former Liverpool player was also part of the Croatia squad that finished third at the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. Lovren likened wearing the Croatia shirt to putting on a Superman's cape.
Alright, and that does it for us on Good Morning Nigeria for today. Don't forget, the world is watching us. Your vote matters. Your vote counts. This election matters. It's very crucial for all of us. My name is Claire Adilabu Abdul Razak. You have a wonderful day.
And I'm Kingsley Osadolo. I call on all eligible voters to be out tomorrow to cast your votes so that your votes will count. See you on Monday, same time, 7 o'clock in the morning for a fresh package of Good Morning Nigeria. Look after yourselves.
It depends on the velocity of the rain.
One boy kicked me to open fire, so I said, okay, you can report the right. So that's what how the right was.
He's working with Glosivitz, which year that guy no, it's not an ordinary eye. No, it's not an eye. To do his marry his wife.
It all depends on how I handle my worries, how you're able to handle your own story.
It's what you decide in your mind that determines you, not your situation. I don't feel well. But what I'm saying is, we are better together.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International.
Welcome to
live
Against
on your
All
TV,
on the Nigerian
computer,
Television
iPad,
Authority,
tablet,
a program
and
that brings to your
Log on
doorstep
Vision
the
TV
lives
UK
of
and
persons
click
with
NTA.
disabilities.
Then NTA on. You can also download the iOS or Android app. on your
Although
mobile
social
device
media as a
to
channel
watch
of
NTA
communication
International
is
on the go,
inherently harmless,
anywhere in the world.
it becomes harmful
NTA
and damaging when used without discretion and thoughtfulness. Bad social media users spread rumors and fake news without verification. But good social media users stop, reflect, and verify information before sharing it. Be a good social media user. Stop the spread of fake news. Verify the authenticity of your source and use social media responsibly for a better Nigeria. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, in collaboration with the National Orientation Agency.
This is the network service of the NTA.
Always shining on ideas. Do I have a choice? Hey, my friend, we cannot do this kind of our business and not be shining. In fact, have you not heard when they say looking good is good business? Mama shine now. Emini, how are you doing? Fine, I'm fine. I can see that your shop is now. You look so big, beautiful, filled up with beautiful fabrics. Thank you very much. I had to expand. In fact, I bought the next shop and I knocked. Yes, I knocked two shops together because you know our customer base was really expanding. And you know if these customers come and don't have anything to offer them, they will go to another place. The competition is like so high. And you know what I'm not slack. I'm happy for you. Thank you so much. Meanwhile, the major reason why I give is because of the 2023 election. And you know, as the Iyawoloja, I know that you have, a definite role to play to influence women to participate actively in 2023 election. We are tired of men taking over our affairs. We have to take our rightful place. After all, women are the builders of the home. We are the builders of the society. Without us, nothing is possible. And look at how you are thriving in your business as a leader. Just imagine if you are given one position as House of Rep. So, I have come to tell you that you need to talk to these women. We have to, go to the grassroots. Ensure that we pick them up. And I know that you can do that for me. That is why I'm here this morning. You know what problem? I agree with everything that you have said. Because it is we women that know where the shoe pinches. We are the ones that really wear the shoe. Exactly. We have a lot of wisdom, we have a lot to offer. But the main thing that know, we are the only ones that can do it. Like you said, we run our businesses. We run our homes. Look at the magnitude of business. Our children are doing well. Everywhere. Our businesses. Whatever we put our hands on, it prospers. So once you give a woman a house, she makes it a home. So we are the ones who know how to make things work. So please talk to this woman. I will. Remember that United Nations say at least we should be giving 35% of the responsibility in every organization. Where are we putting 50? So I'm here to tell have 50-50. I hope to assure you that my NGO is working, you know, that we will ensure that women are well represented. I agree with you. Well, it's good for us to aim high for 50-50, but we'll take it, you know, step by step. You know, people say step by step. Slow and steady. Let's be ambitious. I agree with you. Let's be ambitious. I agree with you. And I have the women under me, and I have their ears. So we have the Market Women's Cooperative. We usually have our meetings. Then we have the Market Women's Prayer meeting. So what I will do, as we're having each of those meetings, any day that we're having them, I will let you know ahead so that you can come and address the women. Because it is time for us now to now take our rightful place. The woman says it's no longer in the kitchen. Is this not me here? In charge of this business? I told my partners, I said they should forget about marketing. No, it's marketing. If I meet the order, all these things are set. Yes, so I'm not disappointed. You cannot be disappointed. Thank you so much. I will mobilize the women for you because it is time for women to stand up and take our rightful place. We are no longer just to be silly. We must be heard. Gender equality. We have brains. We can think. We can mobilize. We can organize the communities. In fact, the men have done a lot of damage. It is time for women to take over. Yes. I'll mobilize the women for you. So I'll let you know the date of our next meeting. Problem. Women must be there. Yes, so after that one, we will now come and patronize you because I must ensure that they wear ashwebi during the election. And it will be colored. Each of the election, is it presidential, is it gubernatorial, we will wear ashwebi. Yes, and everything will come from your show. Semabella fabrics. Yes. That is what everybody will be putting on. Thank you. Yes, it's time for women to take over. Yes. This is a very good initiative. I will support you. My business woman extraordinaire. My dear, we cannot fold our hands. That even reminds me. The way women are hardworking like this, I was telling you, that's my NGO friend. And she came here to tell me about how they want women to mobilize in politics as 2023 is coming. She said as a she wants me to help. It's not a problem, so I now say, I have people. When I have people, when I'm calling my people, if I'm calling a thing, I will know that I have people. Crowd. Close your association of tailors, Abby. You need them. You can everywhere, bring them from every nook and cranny. What's up, Abby? What jade? I told this woman that I will mobilize for her. So when the time comes, I will let you know. She will come and address them, and then we'll do everything because it is really time for women to rise up. It's not only market they should be doing. I trust you. And we must look beyond that. It's not only what we eat today. Women too must stand up and take office. They take positions in office so that we can make the place we can make our society a better place. It is women that know the problem of women. These men, they cannot understand it. So when a woman is there, we can talk to her, we can pull her ear. And we say, but this is how we want it to. We will remind her where she's coming from. So you are correct, ma. If you want me to start calling them now, trust me now. I'll first call Yalabake. Yalabake get like how many people under her? Trust me. Thank you very much. So that side is settled. I would also talk to our cooperative meeting people, the prayer meeting people, everybody. By the time we talk right, left, and center, the crowd that she will see, it will fear. You're welcome, customer. We're very good.
What do you have now?
Plenty things now. Colorful fabrics for men, for women. Any choice. Yes. Is it for you or for?
No, for my uncle Jerry.
It's for your uncle. See Kampala.
My daughter is doing wedding.
Just
want something nice.
Something nice. Well, if you're Jerry. This one that particular one is very good for ashwebi. Yes. Even this one too.
I like this one.
You like it? Ah! You dey carry and come market for customer.
How much is this one?
10,000 parent. She
Eh?
got money. Only small.
This thing too.
Now original, see. Oh. Help me tell you.
Work for 6,000.
How much do you want to pay?
Just
Now
I like this one.
well, as a special customer, you can pay 8,000 so that you can advertise for us to your friends, Abby.
Let me have time for them. Let me just take it.
You take it at 5.
Yeah.
This is Mama Jacoba Wale. Let's not be that the next time you come, you will not see us.
Fine now.
I know.
This thing will fit your color.
Oh,
Okay, you sabi better thing.
I want to pay. It's okay, Shamu.
Fine. 4 colors.
Thank you.
We are bringing 7,000.
Now they're so close here.
See this one, sister. Say no, Agbaye. When you are talking of international class tailor, that is her thing.
I will get your number. So after this thing, I will.
No problem. Or you want me to take your measurements?
Everything that they do for this show, calm down now. Let me transfer this to you. So I will get back to you.
See the account number.
Where
Where is Ramatu? When I don't know who that one I'm going to. I know that when I have you, I have like 25 people. God bless you.
All this family will get network.
No, this one has network. Have you seen the line?
The second side,
customer. Something that I brought from 10,000 to 7,000 just for you. You let us help us to keep selling now. Help us to remain in business. We have sent it. Okay.
I think check your balance.
Look for one for my wife said.
You need to. Okay, it has come in. Thank you very much. I've seen it.
Okay,
God bless you.
Don't worry. I will come back.
Is the only one you are giving your uncle? His friends, are they not going to wear the same thing?
I will
spend this money.
Some of them will come. Some of them will come. Let me just buy this one.
My sister can show you my phone number.
Okay.
She's a very good tailor. When she finish with you like this, you will not recognize yourself. Is it not a thing? International tailor.
Thank you.
Tailor with
class. Any.
Tailor.
Efe.
Yeah, Efe. Tailor with a difference.
In our dialect, Efe is one let me say. Thank you.
I will be expecting your call.
Alright, thank you.
We'll be expecting your call.
Alright.
Advertise us to your friends. Sema Bella. 0708 L5 Garki International Market.
Yes,
okay, thank you. I pray he will call you.
Every day, life presents hopes, dreams, and challenges. Challenges that can become successes with a little help. Because a little help can empower you to go from despair to celebration. A little help can keep you going until the race is won. A little help can turn bundles of anxiety into a bundle of joy. And with Glow Data, you get much more than just a little help. You get the biggest data deals in town to make every day glow with small wins and big wins. Dial *777# to select your Glow Data plan.
This place,
I don't shall talk about small.
Nobody's asking you to write it. That's brought me here today. In fact, far from it. It's a very important matter. We're talking about how we women can change our situation. We can change our situation in this country as women. You know, as women that we are, whether you're a mother or you never had any child.
It's a humanity now. You never reached down. I want to stop with me and you were so free. Every mother would or statue or anything.
No, that is another fight.
Fight.
No, woman are woman. You be more picking. Woman. My daughter said, a woman. What's she happen? Now you know the truth makes you calm down.
If you used to be calming down, you get what I'm trying to say. We have come in different levels and status. So we're talking about all women. We don't want to see them.
I understand. I'm not judge you. You understand? So just talk. I know you're back now.
Yeah, now we are talking. The thing is not to exclude anyone. So as I was saying, we all know that it is women that are behind any change in this world. Right from history, even the Holy Book documents it. Even in the Holy Books, it is women that bring about change. And if we go to the history of our own country, check it out. The Arab women's riots, they were women. Queen Amina of Zaza, she was a woman. And even in the south, Kumilaya Rasul. Margaret, thank you very much. Margaret, if I keep counting, we know one. So if we keep counting like that, we will see women all over our country who made change happen. But when women were no longer given their rightful place, see where we are today. See where we are today. Look at our society. Look at the dollar. It has flown beyond the roof into the clouds. She said, you know about me. Tell me. That woman, what they do? What they carry cassava with water? They say, I don't know what but I don't know. You see? What is for saying cassava? I'm not. It is everywhere. So what do we need to do? Is sit down and consider how women can make this change that we need. Hello, honorable women. I miss you all. You're welcome. Very, very welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you. So much. I appreciate it. You're welcome. Thank you. As people say, as you think it in your mind, you will get it. I was just about to tell you that to expatiate all about what I was saying, that my friend, Madam Angel, will soon be here to explain more. Yes. I love that. Thank you. So wonderful. She's my friend. She's very beautiful. So just a second, and because you are just like each other, and please meet Madam Kero. She is the CEO of her own NGO that talks about women matter. I've forgotten the name of the NGO, but since she's here, I'm sure she will set us right. Madam NGO. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm happy to be here. So before you came, I was prepping the minds of our women here, who are leaders of women in their own right. Yes, about what you will come and tell us, about what you spoke to me about education. I was telling them that it's something I've been thinking about, but I didn't really know how to go about it until you came and you roused my mind. So now that you are here, I trust you. You are never disappointed. Thank you, I will never disappoint. I'm happy to be here. Thank you very much. Thank you. Madam said, I'm happy to be among this women of Timber Academy. In fact, what I brought is not too much. I'm telling you, it's just about 2023. We You know we are in 2023 now, and the election is just around the corner. And if you look at our Nigerian politics all this while, you will see that we the women we are always taking the back seat, chanting praises of our men, and they are proving like they are the Lord over everything. So my NGO, my NGO is just here to preach a simple message. We women are change makers.
Yes.
And we want to take our rightful place in Nigerian politics.
Yes.
So 2023 has come. Madam Seki, international table. You will bring all your women to and we will talk to them about 2023 election. If we do all these things when we talk,
We all have stories to tell.
The small boy kicked me to open fire on me, so I said, okay, you can cross the right hand. So that's what how my right hand was cut off.
He's working with close with which year that that guy, no, he's not an ordinary eye. No, he's not an eye. Do you use marry his wife?
It all depends on how I handle my story and how you're able to handle your own story.
It is what you decide in your mind that determines you, not your situation. I don't feel well. But one thing is, we are better together.
Dushman Lucy Pius therapy.
Welcome to Against All Odds on the Nigerian Television Authority, a program that brings to your doorstep the lives of persons with disability.
It depends on the velocity of the rain.
This is the network service of the NTA.
As one who bears witness and makes prophetic declarations to the world, uses facts to provide guidance to the society. I am Nim Nabasi, and you are on to African Literature on the largest television network in Africa, the NTA. Stay with us.
The true definition of creative writing is original writing that expresses ideas and thoughts in an imaginative way. It is the art of making things up or putting a creative splash on history. Creative writing makes one step out of reality and into a new realm, inspired by one's imagination. Creative literary writing considers the historical events of the past in the context of the present, then provides a warning or challenges to the audience about the deleterious societal conditions and the need for human reformation. Creative writing is a form of expression that affords great freedom. Creative writing fulfills an extraordinary role as an exhortative writer. More specifically, the writer discusses in contemporary terms the overall condition that creates disparities in human treatment, leading to negative and destructive perspectives of self and others, and offers guidance for the present and future generations to break the cycle of false hope followed by despair. Writers are constrained only by the limits of their imagination. Writing is also very personal.
Good writers are taught to develop an authentic voice or writing style that makes their work unique and recognizable among others. Journalism and creative writing are twin tools in reshaping society into a better and healthier place for human habitation. Just like journalism stands for entertainment, education, information and surveillance, so it is with creative writing, which is sometimes inventive and prophetic. Creative writers are purveyors of innovations. They see tomorrow and create inspiration for science and technology and other fields of study. It's like a prophetic flow that drips in torrents and departs spontaneously to resurface intermittently. Creative writing places one on the pleasure cruise once you engulf in its moment of quietness and meditation. One is driven by an unknown force to spill earth wisdom to the body of knowledge, that is, spinning words in eclectic styles. Therefore, creative writing is an extraordinary source of inspiration.
Global Bugabu by Aminu Kayode Aminu takes us through the pains of human existence and light at the end of every tunnel.
In order to understand prophetic literature, it is important to first understand what it means to be a prophet. Prophets are commonly mistaken with oracles or clairvoyants, those who have the supernatural ability to see and predict the future. In the Holy Book, God changed specific men and women to bear supernatural messages to his people. These messages are meant to call God's people back to their roots as the people of God. The calling of the creative, prophetic writers is broader, wider, and more intentional than many have ever imagined. Prophetic activities have different shapes and patterns depending on media or tools used to predict. Prediction activities penetrate into the world of literature. This can be found through the traces left in literacy works, especially works that have historical themes. Aliyu Kayode Aminu, one of Nigerian's prophetic creative writer, in his collection of poems titled Bugabu, predicts light at the end of the tunnel during COVID-19 pandemic.
Now you and I are sitting down here without nose mask. It wasn't possible in 2019, and you won't enter that gate without nose mask. But that was in the prediction, and you won't shake hands with anyone. I'm sure you've had some handshakes today, earlier today. It's in the poetry, even in the poem Global Bugabu, that someday we'll come back to have those handshakes. And then you look at the last part of it. I said, like, if you check the predecessors of COVID, we have malaria, we have HIV, we have Ebola, we have all the likes. But they came in this form and they were tamed.
He speaks on his title.
When you mention the word masquerade, a child runs away. So masquerade represents Bugabu as far as children are concerned. So we look at the Bugabu that has global impact or global touch. It was COVID. So when it came, I look at it and say, okay, fine. This title speaks well of what COVID is to the whole world, because everyone was in a panic mode as at that time. King, queens, slaves, servants, no matter who was involved, everybody was scared. The rich could not trust in their wealth to be alive. The poor too could not trust in their prayers to be alive. So it became something of serious panic. And that's why I brought out the title Global Bugaboo.
The poem is characterized with uncertainty and fearsome tone.
The tone was tone of fear for myself as an author, and it was something that was inspired by the general fear, the Bugaboo itself. So I was a victim of the Bugaboo. I was part of the people who expressed that fear, and so it was in that fear that the poem was composed and written.
The poet's legal training is evident in his diction.
Sometimes the way we write is determined by who we are in terms of training and experience. A lawyer will be influenced by his legal knowledge or legal education in his writings. A doctor will also be influenced by his background as a medical doctor. So it is impossible, having spent so many years practicing law, being in active practice, I will not write any collection of literature without having legal terms being embedded into it. Sometimes it's unintentional. It will just come your way, and then that's the best way you feel you could express yourself, and then so you have to express it to reflect your background. Even though, generally speaking, there is no society without law, and you hardly can discuss any subject matter without talking about law. And so that is why in each of the poems you see reflection of legal terms where necessary, not just unnecessarily used, but where necessary, ensure that those terms are there.
The collection is inspired by the global pandemic, COVID-19, though other subject matters were raised.
Inspired by the emergence of COVID-19, late 2019. And so, it is wrong to express despair without giving hope to the people. It's a situation of sorrow for us at that time. So when you are when you are informed or telling the world that you have a tragedy, you should let them know the hope that's behind the dark cloud, the silver lining. So those other collections, those other poems you see reflecting God, talking about love, talking about this Nigerian soldier, talking about my grandpa, my mom, and all that. If you read through them, you will still find some element of pains, challenges, but after all this, there's always hope, joy, and happiness.
The collection contains titles from the author's real-life experiences.
Only few emerge from my imagination. Most of them are actually real-life experiences that I needed to put down so that we live to remember it, and some of them were very touching. If you check the aspect of that, I talk about Nigerian soldier now, you see that when you read through, you understand, appreciate the pains, what the Nigerian soldiers, the Nigerian army goes through in the battle against terrorism, what they go through. When you have a brother that is a soldier and he tells you I'm going to war, he is telling you goodbye. He meant it. If he's saying goodbye to you, he's actually saying goodbye from the depth of his heart, because he might not return. That's how painful it is to have a soldier in your family. If you check one of the poems there, I talked about my grandpa. My grandpa was very influential, and the story about my grandpa there is 100% truth. 100% what he went through, and with the spirit, with the genes in the forest.
His beautiful arrangement of same-sounding words added elements of music to the collection,